What up? What up? We back with Chow Chronicles. We your hosts. I'm retired son first class, Sinette, and I'm with my dog.
Retired Master Arnold Franklin Little.
All right, so today we're gonna dive into a topic that hits close to home. Many of us balancing our career, our health, and our personal goals, and this just not with the military. This can be, transcribed into the civilian side as well. Whether you're balancing the demands of a career, staying on top of your health, or pursuing personal goals, finding that sweet spot can feel like a mission in its own. All right, in this episode, we'll be sharing practical tips and strategies that help you that we both of us have picked up along the years in uniform and beyond. Now we're tackling the outside world. We just bringing our skills to the outside. Ways to tackle the day with the same focus and discipline we've learned in the service, but with the flexibility of life demands now. And especially if you're brand new to the military, we definitely can help you out. We have been in 20 plus 24 years. So we definitely, whether the regulation changes, we can still help you out with how to navigate the day-to-day routine of, balancing school, work, health, fitness, and things of that nature. But what's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, big dog?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Same old man. How's life treating you?
Oh, New
Now
Year
that you
starting
now that
good,
you
man.
now that you freshly retired.
Yeah. 7 months in, enjoying it. I am getting a little bored, so I'm about to do something about that. But just enjoying the New Year, dreading this cold weather right now. I don't like the winter. I'm a summer baby, so I like warmer days. But just enjoying the New Year, man. Things getting kicked off, starting this New Year off right, helping somebody out.
It's pretty cold over there right now. See, it's the 9th of January, so I heard it was snowing in Texas right now.
Yeah, so Dallas, it's snowing in Dallas right now. Here in San Antonio, we're supposed to get some rain, which will translate to some sleet and ice, maybe. School not canceled, so right now everything's still good. It's supposed to rain later today, but you just pray that stuff pass over, man, and everybody be safe on the roads, man.
Exactly, man. So, hey, do you have a funny story for the anecdote about just juggling responsibilities in the military and daily life? Now when you're a private, you don't really have too much to juggle. You know what I'm saying? Unless you come in with that whole family aspect. But you got any funny stories about or any tips so far about juggling that daily life and the military life?
Yeah, so I got a real funny story. It's actually my first duty station when I first got to Hawaii, because in
Mhm.
basic and AIT they tell you everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when I got to replacement in Hawaii in like May of 2003,
Hmm.
you know, and I actually thought my military career was gonna start off bad, man, because I got there, got picked up, went to reception, and I went up to the staff sergeant, parade rest. I'm like, hey, uh, what time do we need to be down here in the morning? He was like, look at Private, you grown now. This big boy rules
Mm.
ain't no basic no more. You better be here at 6:30 or you gonna be
Yeah,
consequences. So
yeah,
I'm 20 years old in Hawaii, man. So you know what I do? We go party. We go down to, miss first formation, knocking on the
yeah,
door. Get
yep,
out here. So back then, they used to get you right, smoke you. You know what I'm saying? Can't do that
yeah,
now to a certain extent, but yeah,
yeah.
man, I got a rude awakening, man. Me and like three other dudes, man, got the dog shit smoked out of us, man. And I don't think I ever missed another formation for at least probably about a year or two after that, man. But I thought my military career started off bad because I was in Hawaii. As soon as I got released, man, I was
Yeah.
out there in them streets, man, and it was just 2, 3 in the morning coming back in formation
Mm.
at 6:30, and it was crucial, man. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So I remember my first duty station, and I'm gonna say his name. I ain't even talked to him in years, of course, since I left Fort Polk. My very first team leader, Sergeant Cooper, Sergeant E5 Cooper. I got stationed at Fort Polk, which is typically about 2 hours and some change away from where I'm from in Beaumont, Texas. So I was a cook when I first came in. So on Thursday, you got sergeant time training. So we got to come to the DFAC around 3-4 o'clock in the morning to start cooking for people who got to be doing sergeant time training at 6 o'clock, something like that. 6:30. So it was that I think it was that Wednesday. It was that Wednesday or something like that. I decided to go home after I got off shift on a Wednesday. And I'm 18. I decided to go back home, hang out, with some homeboys and partners. I underestimated how far it would be when I'm tired, driving from Beaumont, driving typically about 90 miles. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, this is pretty much like around right before, I think 99, 2000. Cell phones wasn't really out then. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I had to call. I called from my mama's house phone. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Hey, Sergeant Cooper, this is Private Sinet. I'm headed back to Fort Polk." And he was like, "What you mean you headed back to Fort Polk?" You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't tell him I was rolling. I just rolled. Within the 84 Cutlass, I rolled out. You know what I'm saying?
Were you within the mile radius, or you was outside the mile radius?
Well, when we was a cook, we had a mile. We had a mile radius. I was 90 miles, but 250 is
yeah.
But during the work week, you couldn't go outside to the 20 or 30 mile radius because you had to be to work. So what happened was I got super tired. It was a place called what's it called? DeRidder, was it DeRidder? Right, had been on the other side of DeRidder, Louisiana, which is typically about 30 miles away still. So I'm close. But I'm swerving on this dog. I wasn't jigging, I was tired. So I got pulled over by the parish police in Louisiana, and he did the breathalyzer, and he was like, "Are you drunk?" And I was like, "No, I haven't drank. I'm in the Army. I'm trying to head back to work. I got to be to work at 4." You know what I'm saying? So what he did was like, "Hey man, and it's funny, but it's scary. It was scary then, and now it's still kind of scary now, but." Now that I think about it, the funny aspect of it is like, I shouldn't have been doing it. Like I'm doing dumb stuff. But the cop was like, "Hey man, you barely missed that 18-wheeler back there." You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
He was like, "You barely missed that." He said, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you to the police station and I'm going to have you sleep a few hours." You know what I'm saying? But at this time, I'm like, man, I can't sleep. Sean Cooper gonna kick my HE double hockey. He gonna kick the HE double hockey sticks out of me. You know what I'm saying? So he had called Sean Cooper, and on the phone, Sean Cooper. "Oh, okay, yeah, officer. Okay, yeah, just make sure he good to go." But I know Sean Cooper. I know he ain't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I finally get back around 9 o'clock, man. I finally get in the car, drive back. I get 9 o'clock. Everybody on shift, like, "Man, where you been? Where you at, man? What happened to you? You supposed to be here at 4 o'clock."
Dang.
So Cooper ain't say nothing the whole shift, right? So check this out. So Cooper say, "We about to get, we get off at 12. We did the morning shift." So Cooper said, to make a long story short, I'm rolling out. I'm thinking Son Cooper cool. He like, hey, high speed, come here.
He call you high speed. It's on.
Look, how about this, bro? He already had the 4856 on the table waiting for me to come sit down.
Oh man.
Hey, I thought I was getting off scot-free. He like, hey, high speed, come on and sit down real quick.
Oh man, yeah.
And so look, the more of the story is I learned about time management because he was like, "You don't know how to manage your time? I'm gonna show you how." I had to work all day for a week, man.
Man.
From morning to late shift for a whole week, bro.
Oh man, I bet you ain't never late again.
Never did it again at Fort Polk. You know what I'm saying? Because when you a cook, you got to be there at 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And you don't get off till 1700. So that was my funny story. Besides for the 18-wheeler part, as far as that goes. So, but we're gonna get into it. Balancing your health, your career, your health, and personal goals isn't just important. It's essential. Because if you don't have balance, one area can easily overwhelm the others, leaving you burnt out and unfulfilled. And I think sometimes I don't know if you've been here battle in a certain situation, like you'll start looking at, if you ever seen soldiers or people in general, they'll start overemphasizing one part of their life.
Yeah.
Like you see people start so focused on career, college, got to get promoted, but then they negate their health, or they don't look at their health, or they felt like, man, that's a good worker, man. That dude, he worked, but he fell in the PT test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they start looking at things on the outside. Or you ever had a soldier who, or a co-worker who was trying to start a business, and they took more importance, and they took more emphasizing their business over their military career?
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So can you explain? No, without no names, can you explain something like that? If you've seen it before.
Well, I've seen it before. I actually seen it done successful. I got a friend right now. I've been knowing him since he was a PFC. He a hard diamond first sergeant now.
Okay.
Yeah, he started off with a camera and a photograph business, which he's still into, and now he has a clothing brand that's been going on for about a decade now. He did it the right way. But I have seen too, when I was in let me see, I think it was Bliss, Fort Bliss, and you want to support your friends and stuff like that, but they spending more time, trying to get out of work and go, they business. Like, bro, we got to get in these hats and go pick up these people from McGregor Range and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, hey, like you focusing on the wrong thing. Now, I'm not talking about my friend who's the first sergeant. Now, like I said, he did it the right way. But also, when I was at Bliss, because this person was stationed at Bliss too, and I don't want to get it mixed up. But also, there was a person promoting their business, and even when I was an instructor, man. Okay, so here we go. Funny story. It ain't even the fact about promoting your own business, but sometimes, and sometimes when we get to duty station, that when you leave one location that got good BAH and cola, and you go to another one, it ain't as good. Some people go out there and get
jobs.
And I understand. I ain't gonna, hey man, get on your grind, feed your family. But at the same time, man, when the military is your main source of income, even though I used to tell soldiers they spoil because the military is the only place you can. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, I gotta take my child here. Your paycheck gonna be the same. They ain't like that in civilian world unless you on salary. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, people would go. The thing was taxi cab driving and selling pizza. Well, the incident happened with soldiers being taxi cabs. So Sergeant Major was like, nah, ain't nobody driving no more taxi cab. No, it was because they were working on the weekend, and these privates get passes, and what that can lead to. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, of course.
But the big thing was delivering pizza. Like they call it way before Uber and everything got popping. Soldiers deliver pizza. The problem was people skate out 2-3 in the afternoon, like, hey man, we got to finish training these soldiers. And it wasn't, and let me tell you how somebody got caught. I ain't gonna say their name. So the civilian guy who works along with Sergeant Major, the training Sergeant Major, he got wind of it. So he ordered a pizza. Pizza, and the soldier delivered the pizza while he was like when he was supposed to be at work, and got caught. And then that's how. And Sergeant Major made a whole big deal of it and found out, he wasn't hating, but it's correct where you're supposed to get counseled and say, hey, a little, even though this your second job, it can't interfere with, training these soldiers. So that caused a lot of friction because a lot of people had to give up their jobs because they wasn't properly counseled on, and some people were doing it the right way. They would leave, get off the pad, go change and go do what they had to do. But a lot of people were doing it during work hours, and Sergeant Major got wind of them. Your main focus is training these future soldiers to be, transporters. So I done seen that a lot, dog. Seen it a lot, man.
Oh yeah. So also we gonna look at career time management as well for you guys, the brand new soldiers or the ones that are NCOs who's been in 10 plus years. You know what I'm saying? I would say there is a such thing as prioritization framework. That's what I would say. It was, you categorize your task in the 4 quadrants. And I did this several times since I was in the military. You categorize it, urgent and important, things you got to do immediately, your 30, 60, 90, your close targets, your far away targets. What's important and not urgent, you can schedule them later. Urgent but not important, you can delegate them. neither urgent nor important. You can eliminate them because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times that we think something is really important, but when we sit back and note it, it ain't.
Yeah.
And all it's doing is getting in the way of your bigger task.
Mm-hmm.
And this helps focus what truly matters and avoid wasting time. Because I know, when we come to the motor pool, and definitely for the listeners, me and Little, my battle, we worked at the same, motor pool in the same unit and same company. So, what is one thing you've used, like as a platoon sergeant, that you've used to help your soldiers prioritize, like the day? Say there's a mission going on, let's say in garrison or something, and for those who listen, in garrison is when we're back in the States, close to our unit back in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But what is something that helped you? Like, did you ever have to use a framework, important and urgent, important but not urgent for your platoon to get the mission accomplished for the week or the month?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a sergeant major that would say, plagiarism is authorized in the military to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
true. Yeah.
So, when you don't really understand, or you really don't see the vision until you get in a position. So when I became a squad leader, I thought back of when I was in the squad and things my squad leader did, and I incorporated them. Same thing for a platoon sergeant. So one of the frameworks I used that one of my platoon sergeants used at Fort Bliss when I was a young sergeant, he would use the range concept as doing things. So you got targets, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got stuff on your radar, but stuff you shouldn't worry about now. So your 5-10 meter targets are the most important. What we doing in the next 24 to 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
All right, then your 25 to 50 meter targets, what we doing in the next 72 hours, and so on and so on. That way you won't get overwhelmed. And when you're a platoon sergeant, you're managing, 40, 50, 60 people. That is extremely important. So the ball won't get dropped on something, or somebody won't get overwhelmed, or you can forecast, a situation where you might not have this person or that person, or emergency may arise. You get what I'm saying? Because everything. One of my big pet peeves in the military, and even now, is when somebody say everything's a priority.
Like, it ain't.
Listen, everything is not a priority. Everything ain't like, people say, oh, you can what's the word you use? Not juggle, but I can't remember. Something about when you try to do everything, multitasking. That's good to a certain extent. Or you're gonna wear yourself out, or you're gonna wear your people out. But I use the range target, the meter target. Okay, focus out what we got in the next 24 to 48 hours. We focus on that. All right. And then, because the big stuff will take care of itself. It's the small little things that you need to execute that you need have to worry about. Like, we know we got a mission of 20 hits to take somebody somewhere. We know that is. The small thing is, okay, Monday, PMCS, make sure your truck right. Monday afternoon, make sure your 5988s are correct. Tuesday, we dispatching Q, stuff like that. Stuff that's going to get the mission going on, you know what I'm saying? Then once that's done, you start all over again. Okay, because your targets are going to get you to your 5 and 15, 25 meter target is going to get you to be successful in the long run. So I just used to use the range concept, because man, like at Fort Hood or Fort Cavazos, what they call it now, man, we was humping, bro. Like, it wasn't like no, soon as something done, it's like, okay, we got this. If it wasn't going to NTC or doing this, you just had to do that, man. So that's what helped me, a lot. And I think,
when I was doing I think the explorers, I know we use that we in this video. If you're not a prior military or a current military, or you're a veteran, or you're a civilian, I know we use a lot of military jargon. Hey, just bear with us. But you can still use these tools that we're giving you, because right now, if you're listening to it and you're sitting at home, you can write down these tips that we just gave you. You can use the range method, meaning your targets. Your what's your 50 meter target, your 100 meter target, your 300 meter target. Write those things down. Which is the closer? The 50 meter target is what's closer to you. The 100 meter target is which maybe at the end of the week, and then your 300 meter target might be a month, 2 months out. But just remember, you can break them down into 4 quadrants. Get you a piece of paper, write 4 quadrants. You can write the urgent and important but not urgent, urgent and not important, and neither urgent nor important. And those eliminate those altogether. And I can tell you, Battle, on the situation that I had and just recently in Hawaii, which was about now almost 4 years ago. You know, I lost the weight and I got in very good shape. But here was my problem, right? Because I was the platoon sergeant for HAC company, right? Meaning that when the first sergeant is out, you got a lot of things to deal with when it comes to your company. Versus we had a company FTXs, and first sergeant was out, and I had to be the one to plan and put the tent where it needed to be, get all the S shops up and running, what they need to do. So you know that issue. But my problem was I slipped and fell on but I had to catch myself because I was more worried about getting in shape and working out and being healthy and being the best athlete I could be. But since I didn't prioritize these things and keep them where they needed to be, like, okay, you know, you got PT at this time, but between 9 and 12 or 9 and 5, you need to have this short-term, long-term thing, this 30, 60, 90 training plan that's got to be done with the unit. Yeah. First one is going to be out from this day to that day. You know these things, but I'm constantly worrying about working out so much. I'm letting some of these things slip, and which I had to catch myself because when we went to the field, a lot of things start coming into play. Like, damn, who's supposed to do that? Oh, the HAC platoon sergeant, the HAC, and then everything. And I'm like, hey, man, wait a minute. I got to take a step back and start prioritizing PT where it needed to be, my job, and being an active platoon sergeant. Active first sergeant where it needed to be. So I had to take a step back and use this method because if not, I would have definitely, failed at that mission.
Everybody, and so everybody's guilty of that because you, at some point in your life, you're going to be focused on something to get better, whether it's your health, whether it's education, whether it's get promoted, whether it's to, spend time trying to find a way to spend more time with family. You're going to be so focused on something where something is going to slide. But like you say, you caught it because it's a balance. It's a balance with everything. Like everything is a balance, and I know it can be hard at times. Like, trust me, I know it can be hard, especially when you getting ready for deployment. You want to squeeze this in, you want to squeeze that in, you want to do this, you want to do that. You got to focus on, if you're a leader, you got to focus on, okay, making sure these people got everything, making sure the unit's set up this way. So it has to be a balance, and it can be a time where things seem so, overwhelming that it's like, hey, but if you take a step back and analyze and prioritize what's right, you'll be like, because it's perfect example, man. Like, we go. Like I tell people, when I was in Hawaii, last year, got ready to retire, I had great leadership. Colonel, Sergeant Major, first line supervisor, they were great. Once my retirement approved, I was asked to do this last big task that, I did, where I took, the brigade across, the the IDL to another country, did great things. So when I got back and my retirement was approved, they was like, hey, little, too many people don't retire out of Hawaii. It's a lot. Like, if you need the time, go take care of yourself. So I took like a month to think about it, and they was like, hey, can I take this time to go take care of myself? Yeah. And just like that, man, you were like 2 months before, I was in Mongolia, with 30 other countries, doing what I needed to do, making the brigade look great. And then 2 months later, I'm sitting at my kitchen table, mapping out my retirement. When do I need to schedule this? When I schedule that? And things just stop. So and I tell people this because you need to take that time to realize, like, yes, your role is important, but at the drop of a dime, you're not in that situation no more. Just, you're thinking, okay, I need all this, I need, and then boom, you're not. I ain't gonna say you're not needed, but they afforded me the opportunity to take care of myself. So I'm not gonna say I wasn't needed, but just that quickly, all that, planning that, it was just gone. It's like, okay, what do I do? You get what I'm saying? So definitely. You prioritize. Yeah, you got to prioritize. Exactly.
Because I can tell you, for the ones that are listening now, and shout out to I don't know if you remember Sergeant Fakema. Yeah, he was So I just realized that he was a first sergeant, and he just took he took charge of that. So that's definitely shout out to first sergeant Fakema. That's definitely a good thing. But what I was saying is that for the ones who's about to retire, or even if you did 4 years, and now you ETS, and take your time to prioritize your next, 30, 60, 90 days or, a year in advance. Because if you don't, I'm going to tell you, I'm a prime example. If you don't do it fully, you're going to be trying to play catch up. And it's not good to play catch up once you move on to your next endeavor. But we're going to move into the 80-20 rule. Identify 20% of the tasks that bring you 80% of your results and prioritize those. Have you ever heard of the 80-20 rule before?
Yeah, 80-20. Yeah, I heard of that a lot, man.
Yeah, so I heard it a lot in the military, but I'm gonna be honest, I never really paid attention when I was younger. You know what I'm saying?
We all don't.
And now correct me if I'm wrong. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the 80-20 rule, is that the same thing as the small things matter that make up the bigger? Like, you can't have a big outcome if you don't take care of the small details. Is that pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, paying attention to detail. Like I never. The big things always take care of themselves in life in general. It's the small things, because you got this thing called Murphy Law that we use in the military, that if something go wrong, it can go wrong, and that's in life too. But and if something go wrong, you can't sit there and think, oh, everything's going to go wrong. But that's for another story. But yes, the 20% rule, the small things matter, the details matter, because as just speaking as transporters, the 80% is okay. We on deployment, we taking these vehicles and these people X, Y, and Z. The 20% is okay. Did you do your PCs, PCIs? Did you did you do PMC at your truck? Because we know if you don't take care of that 20%, you're gonna be on the side of the road, probably in a firefight, and things go left. So yes, the 80-20 rule is, when it comes to 80-20, I worried about the 20%. The 80% is already taken care of. That's why it's 80%. 20% is the details we need to look into to make sure we're straight. You know what I'm saying? And that's with anything in life, period.
Yeah, it's something simple, and this might be a bad analogy, but it's something simple as, tying your shoe might not be a big thing to nobody, but if you don't tie your shoe and you run straight out the house, it could cause a bigger issue with you busting your face wide open. Now,
that's true.
So small things, just like if on being on the civilian side, and you have a regular job, the meal, prepping for the week. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like with us, we know what we're gonna do every single day. Now I don't know, some people might have civilian jobs where they know that, and some don't. So you not meal prepping or prepping everything you need for the week might be a hindrance, because you hopping and popping all week. You getting off at 4 or 5 o'clock. Now you got to take care of your family. Now the things you could have did on Sunday, could definitely hinder. That's
Absolutely.
Like my leadership used to say, get your uniforms ready for the week, because that's a small thing. If you think it's a tedious thing on Saturday and Sunday. On Sunday, I ain't gonna say Saturday because I ain't think about nothing on Saturday about military. But so Sunday afternoon is tedious, battle to get your uniform together. But if you got your PTs ready for the week and your uniforms ready for the week, man, that's a big load off for the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true. That's very true. Just preparing and just the small things that won't, and for me, the biggest thing is with dinner. Like I will always think, okay, make sure you're getting ready for PT or work. Make sure you take something out unthawed. Make sure you take something out unthawed. And then you don't, because when I was in Hawaii, I worked on post. I mean, I lived on post, right? The first time I ever lived on post in my life. So I was like 2 minutes away from the house, right? So my wife worked at Tripler Hospital, which is like 30 minutes away. So, most of the time dinner is on me, because she get off at 4, but realistically with traffic, she's not going to get home till like 5:30, almost 6 sometimes, right? So, and I say this because the small things will cost you in the long run. Like, I keep forgetting, I didn't take nothing out. Okay, what y'all want? So, PX right there. So, but when you think about it in a week time with a family of 6, let me see, Monday you done ate at Burger King.
Tuesday Charlie's.
When you done pizza, it's like, before you look and it's like, I done spent almost $300 in a week. All right, Frank, hey, take something out the refrigerator. It just, so you won't get, a customer putting yourself in a worse position, just planning and everything like that. It just I mean, some people might think thinking of this way of thinking is crazy, but planning to the T will help you, like, immensely in life with
Yeah.
anything, with finances, with
Yeah.
scheduling, with with work, anything. Like when I got ready to retire, and another reason I tell my leadership, I mean, I tell people this, my leadership gave me time off to get right for retirement, is
Mm-hmm.
because growing up, I used to see, I'm like, dang man, this person retired in 6 months. Why they still got to come to work? Like, you
Yeah.
ain't, what I'm saying? But one thing I did was, like I go back to say early in the podcast,
Yeah.
plagiarism is also out of the military. You sit there and see when you get ready to go from NTC, what you do or deploy, what you got a slide say, road to war, right? You take
Yeah.
that same slide and say road to deployment or road to promotion,
Yeah.
whatever. You plan that thing out, put them hit points. I handed that to my leadership, and it's like, okay, well, see, you got it planned out. Like, okay, go take care of yourself. That's
Yeah.
little things you
That's
do. Like you take it
pretty much.
and you, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So the biggest thing is too is and we're gonna give you guys this as well. This is a tool. So before we go into that, just know about effective delegation and communication. You just got to learn to let go, focus on tracks that require, focus on tasks. I'm sorry, that require your expertise, and delegate the others to your trusted, coworkers or your family members. Because it's something simple as, if you're at work and you coming home, you can't clean up the whole house every day. You got to expect, hey, your kid, you delegate, hey, you got this week, you got the living room this week. Hey, such and such, you got, granted they old, you got a 2-year-old, can't tell them to vacuum the whole house, their room, but and give clear instructions when delegating. Be specific about what needs to be done, when it's due, and the expected outcome. And this is if you a boss on the job, or if you have a soldiers, or wherever you at, just learn to start delegating things that are not in your realm, because you can't do everything. Now I ain't gonna put out no names. I had a battle buddy, and I say, man, why you doing all that work, man? Like, that's why you have troops and you have soldiers. Man, I can't trust them to get it done. And my thing is, right, that kind of falls on you being and
Absolutely.
we're not going to get too deep in that topic, but I'm just saying, if you can't trust the personnel at your civilian job, if you over them to, hey, delegate that work, and you packing on the rest of that work to you, but also regular check-ins, follow up to ensure the tasks are progressing and avoid micromanaging. That is definitely a tool that you can use on your job. That because
Micromanaging.
micromanaging is a big thing. Yeah, we both said it at the same time, bro. But we're gonna give you some tips. Calendar apps. Calendar apps. And if you got a smartphone, you got a calendar app on
Ain't
there.
no
There's no
excuse.
excuse. No
None.
excuse. You can plan out the week, you can plan out the month. Something simple as planning out your doctor's appointments, or grocery, when you want to make groceries for the week. I'm sorry, bro, I'm from Texas. We say make groceries. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
fine.
Some of y'all say get groceries. We say make groceries. Google Calendar is a good one. Outlook is definitely a good one. Outlook is definitely one of the ones we use in the military. Set your reminders and block time for focused work. That's what I was going to earlier, and I said that me focusing on working out all day, it should have just been focused to that time frame, and then move
Mm-hmm.
on to the rest. So, of any other apps that besides Google Calendar, Outlook, that you might have used, or I know
No,
those are the two big things we use.
I just use my Google Calendar, and then I
Yeah.
use my calendar um through my phone, so that, I mean, so to in today's society with technology,
Yeah.
there's really no excuse to not balance things. Like 9 times out of 10, like you can speak it into it. You can go on your phone and say, hey,
Yeah.
calendar 8:30 on Tuesday, reminder, just, and they put it in there. There's no excuse. Like,
Yeah.
I just I just think, like, I'm happy in the times I grew up. Don't get me wrong. 80s and 90s is a great time
Mm-hmm.
in life, period. But I tell on later part of my year, I tell soldiers, I'd be like, what's hindering you from doing X, Y, and Z? And then they
Mm-hmm.
come with a boatload of excuses. And I'm like, if I had the technology
Mm-hmm.
that y'all have now, back when we first came in the early 2000, bro, we'd probably still be in the army right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because things are much easier. Not saying the lead work didn't help you on the back end, because it taught you how to focus and research and go get something. But technology today in life, period, like, things is like, I tell my kids, like, I try to teach them certain things. Don't hold their hand. I'm like, okay, so you got that phone in your hand, you know, TikTok, you know, this, you know, that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you ask me about something, I'm gonna tell you, but I'm like, hey, you can research that and find out, especially when it comes to school and stuff like that. And I tell my
Yeah.
kids all the time, I don't understand this. Okay, let me sit down with me. And I'm like, okay, you have a technology that can like not give you the answer, but familiarize with that. I had to look through
Mm-hmm.
a encyclopedia. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's no excuse for not being prepared
Yeah.
in today's society, because we use technology to help us enhance what we want to enhance, but
Yeah.
sometimes you need it to help you, get through certain stuff. So that's
Oh
important
yeah.
too, man.
Exactly. So, and also we got some time management tools. I mean, task
Ooh.
management tools. Like even something simple as Microsoft To Do, or you got the simple app as the Note on. I got the iPhone. It's got the Note. The little
Mm-hmm.
yellow notepad. You can write down what you need for the day.
Mm-hmm.
You can make the little circles on there where you can check it off when you're done. I used to do that a lot. Once I'm pretty sure you did too. Once I came up in rank, I had
Mm-hmm.
certain things for my platoon or my squad I needed to take care of.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, they all came back. Hey, okay, I check that off. Check that off for the day. Um, as far as that goes, but we're gonna caveat. I'm gonna caveat with my or add something to what my battle said. Use the technology you have to enhance what you already know
Yep.
and help you research. Now, parents, I'm gonna tell you this, and I learned this from my parents used to tell me this too. The stuff that kids see on the internet or TikTok or whatever, all right, they research, they see it for what they like face value. They don't have the wisdom behind what they see.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's when it comes to us parents to say, okay, you did research this, but let me tell you a little bit. Let me expand on that a little bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
we ain't gonna go into the parenting aspect. We just gonna hit that little quick topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, Same thing we used to do with our soldiers. Our soldiers would read a regulation and then they come try to, read it back to us. And okay, high speed. Let me tell you exactly what that means. Pertaining to your situation. You know what I'm saying? So battle, we gonna get into balancing the career, health, and personal goals, of course. Setting your boundaries. So when I say, I'm gonna ask you this. So it's creating the dedicated time blocks for work, exercise, personal activities. Stick to these boundaries to maintain balance. But have you ever had a platoon sergeant or a worker or a co-worker who just they love work and they couldn't say no or set boundaries to, because you had something planned, right? Hey, battle, we got to get this done, we got to get that done, but oh yeah, we'll do that too. And you'd be like, hey, we not even finished this task yet. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever I know you have. I'm just gonna ask anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've dealt with that a lot. And
Yeah,
part of it is, when you're a dedicated person or somebody know
mm-hmm.
you they can depend on you, that's
Yeah,
kind of like a gift and a curse.
yeah,
But yes, I have leaders that didn't want to go home, never
yeah.
understood it, didn't want to go home. I had a commander like that.
Mm,
I had a section sergeant like that.
mm-hmm.
um they didn't want to go home, and I'm like, hey, it's you look out in the parking lot like, okay, you say, battalion want this, but ain't nobody sitting that battalion. Like, go, like, because me, like I'm a work, but my biggest thing is I'm not going to do anything to compromise my time with my family, right?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never made an impulsive decision for something to take me away from my family. That was my boundaries. Now I got
yeah.
it. Like, if the training calendar say, okay, we got to work to this time, we got to work to this time, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if nothing, if it's 1700, 1730, or 1600, whatever, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, um, and everything is done, I'm not about to find nothing to do.
Else
Like,
to do, yeah.
yeah, and I'm not about to find nothing else to do. I'm about to, okay, people need to go spend time with their family. But I had one section sergeant that, the first time I had to pull him aside and say, hey, like, you need to, it's time for y'all to go home. Like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be leaving before y'all. And I'm like, thank you, first on, because it's like, bro, I'm sitting behind the computer,
Yeah.
like, because this person, like, nah, like, people like that are dangerous, because if you don't have boundaries, they're
Yeah.
going to end up out. They're gonna end up burning their people out, and then that's gonna cause a whole nother dilemma that you don't want, man. So yeah.
Exactly. So, and as far as we gonna we touched on set boundaries, but we gonna go off on the start small aspect as far as like your health routines. Of course, in the Army you got to do PT. I don't know how you get around that. You got to literally, to get out of PT, you got to literally find a way, to not work out. You know what I'm saying? So, but to those who are not in the military, start small. Like I always say, do a short 10-minute workout or meal prepping, because 90% of the work is basically in the kitchen. The other 10%, 10-20%, is working out. So if you don't have a workout routine, just start small. You can Google, small 10-minute workout. We got so much stuff now, you ain't got to go to the library anymore. You can just get it on your phone. But also I want to talk about reflect weekly. Spend 15 to 30 minutes at the end of each week reviewing your goals and your progress. Is that something that I'm sorry, let me go back. Time management. So when you get off, right, and this is part of health as well. Have you seen so many soldiers when they get off and they just go right to sleep, or they get in their PJs and they just hang around the barracks not doing nothing? Then they like, hey, Sergeant Little, first sergeant, why can't I get promoted? And then you ask them, hey, well, what do you do? What's your time look like when you get off? Barracks, have a beer, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But do you ever think that, have you ever felt like this? I've heard people say, what I'm trying to say, I've had people say, oh, you doing too much. But do you think that if you spend all day doing what the Army wants you to do you think it's right to just get off and do nothing? Or should you get off and be like, you know what? I'm going to better my career. I'm going to go to college. I get off at 5 o'clock, 1700. I'm finna go to school right after that. You know what I'm saying? Or you think that's doing too much?
No, that's not doing too much. That's not a military thing. That's a life thing. If you go into a regular 9 to 5 and you got ambitions of doing something, listen. And it's a cliche that everybody say, man, if it's important to you, you'll figure out a way to get to it. If it's that important to you, listen, we all got the same 24 hours in a day. It's just for me, when I first came in the Army, I had leadership that wasn't going to let me, just sit around and not do nothing. Right. So it was, all right, Little, you need to go to school. All right, sign up for school. I got school on 2 days out of the week, this day, that day. Other than that, after work, I would, probably be playing basketball, doing something active. But I have seen soldiers, that just and before I say this, I don't want to make it seem like I'm being insensitive, because I got a family too. But even when you get off work, right? And I know family is important. If you got something to accomplish, I'm not saying take 3 or 4 hours to accomplish that goal, but you can take 30 minutes to an hour to contribute to what you're trying to meet. Because I have seen soldiers who they get out work and they soldiers to go home and do what they do, but I also seen soldiers who know they need to work on something and would go change, and hey son, I'm going to the gym. Like I got to give this soldier a shout out, right? I got to give a soldier a shout out. She's a drill sergeant now, drill sergeant Bidwell. We were instructors together at Fort Leonard Wood. Now she's married now, but she was a single mom at Fort Leonard Wood, right? And so something was worked out where daycare and everything, and and when you at Fort Leonard Wood trade out, you got to be the PT at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not 6:30. It's 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah, so I remember that.
You getting up at 3:30, boom, 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 and then if you in tune with and you are helping with the soldiers, you got to be there, 4:30, wake them up, boom, boom, 5 o'clock is formation. Well, daycare open at 5:36. But making a long story short, I got to give a shout out to this soldier, because at the time she was a single mom, and people who was coming to PT were failing PT tests, and she was getting extended 300. This before the ACFT. And the reason why I know this is because when we would get off the pad at 4 o'clock, 4:30, depending on what time the trans would come pick up the troops, the closest gym to us is Davidson Gym. Now I would go to Davidson Gym after work, either to play basketball or get on the treadmill or do some type of extra work, right? she was there every day. She was
Yeah.
there. And I'm not sure what time, daycare closes, but if she was in there from 4 to 5 or 4 to 5:15, that's the time she spent to get better. And when it came, for PT test time,
Hmm.
she get her 303 plus and go on by her day. But that's a
Yeah.
dedication. That's a dedication she showed. So if you want something bad enough, or you need to maintain something bad enough, you're
Yeah.
gonna work where you have to do it better. That's just plain and
It's-
simple. That's just plain and simple.
and pretty much, and I think that goes into having that mindset shift. You know what I'm saying? Just progress over progression. You focus on making steady progress, whether you achieve rather than achieving perfection. Um, Protect your time. That's the biggest thing. Protect your time by declining tasks or commitments that don't align with your priorities. And I mean, what I mean, don't go to work and I'm protecting. I ain't doing that because I don't. That's not the. We talking about that outside stuff that could be coming from your inner thoughts. Thinking you want to do everything. So protect your time by committing to what's only gonna whatever your goal is that aligns with your goal moving forward. All right. So a lot of things we can relate to the military uh, that will help you guys or anybody, whether ins and outs of the military. But your structured daily routine, that's one biggest thing that the military taught us as well, that I think civilians can definitely adapt to, is having that structured daily routine. Because, there's some in the military, there's some non-negotiables. And those, I think, they ensure the consistency and the preparedness. You know what I'm saying? As far as we have a training schedule, which is a to-do list in the civilian side. We know what we're supposed to be doing. If you have a good unit, you have a daily, what you call it, a daily training schedule, a weekly training schedule, or whatever the case may be. But you know what you're supposed to be doing from 06 to some places 08 PT. I know Hawaii, we went from 06:30 to 8.
Yep.
Other units is 6:30 to 7:30. Fort Leonard Wood, trade out units go from 5:30 to 6:30 because you got to get
Mm-hmm.
the troops. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a non-negotiable every day. The accountability formation. You know what I'm saying? So that sets the tone for your day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In the civilian world, this can be applied by creating daily schedules with dedicated blocks for work, exercise, family, and personal growth. Now, Battle, I want you to help me out on this one. Are you a firm believer of not taking what happened at work home? Because so many
Absolutely.
times we see a lot of this goes in with health too, mental health. Health is not just working out, eating. Health is also your mental stability. I see so many people, soldiers and civilians, they go that I've heard, they go home. I mean, they leave work, they go home, and they carry their work to the house, which makes a bad decision. In my mind, what do you think about that one?
So yeah. Um yes, it's but unfortunately, sometimes you in certain aspects you have to take
Mm-hmm.
work home. Now, what I mean by that is you may still receive a phone call or text, because when you in certain leadership positions, you're going to get
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
calls late at
yeah,
night. But as far as like how the day went at work, don't take that home. You gotta let that go. You gotta let that go
yeah.
before you walk through the door, because you done had a whole unit depending on you. Now you got your family who had nothing to do with how your day went. Right? You might have cursed somebody out,
Mm-hmm.
might have got cursed out, might have somebody might have done something crazy. You got to let that go, and that and you hit the nail on the head for mental health, because you can't drag what happened at work home. And I know it's
Mm-hmm.
hard, people, and
Yeah,
trust me, I've been there. Can't nobody tell me I ain't been there, especially when I was a truck master, when I was exposed, and as a first sergeant, like you try to leave this stuff at work, but
mm-hmm.
sometimes you get phone calls. But at
Yeah,
the end of the day, your home has to be your peace. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It
yeah,
has to be, your shelter from the BS that you took place at work. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like the day of the event.
Exactly.
So yes, you can't take it home, because you're gonna have a bad day. Because you think about it, man. PT. Okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
leave PT at 6:30. Let's just say 6:30. So you done left the
Mm-hmm.
house by 5:30, right? You probably ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna see your family again for another 12 to 13 hours. When you
Mm-hmm.
get home, right? You only probably got a good 4, 5 hours, maybe,
Yeah.
before kids start going to bed and you start doing it. So it's important to take that time to unwind, discuss it with your significant other how the day went,
Mhm.
and then let it go, or
Exactly.
strategize and take some time to plan. Okay, my day gonna be better tomorrow because of X, Y, and Z. But leave
Exactly.
that stuff out. Leave that stuff at work, man. It ain't worth it. At the end of the day, it ain't worth it, man.
Exactly. So the tips we want to give you for that one, in case you're writing it down and paying attention, the military discipline applied to civilian career. Number one, we said you can have a structured daily routine. Number two, time blocking. Block off time for um, allocated PT training and your admin work. Basically, your work. Focus periods of key tasks with minimizing distractions. We got goal setting and mission focus, which is we have something called the SMART setting SMART, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound goals for your career and revisiting them regularly. So basically, long story short, just write down your goals and visit them often, weekly, daily. You know what I'm saying, and go from that. And then you need your actionable tips, which is we keep going over it. Eat something simple as planning your meals and incorporating meal prep, scheduling exercises um, like around your work meetings, and then using micro workouts for busy days, stuff like that. Like um, working out. If you're too busy during a certain day, you still can get you a 10-minute workout, things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. So we've said some personal stories. But I want to ask you this: when it comes to mind setting and goals, right? What was the one story, real quick, about what changed your mindset? Because at one point we was all over the place. We young, but then it was one thing that happened that folks shift your mindset to, okay, I got to get after it now. You know what I'm saying? And it might not have been a big thing for everybody, but for you, it was a big thing that say, okay, I got to get on the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Um. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, guy, what really said it, but and it was the Army fault. And when I say this, I'm being funny because things
Yeah.
change, but it was the Army fault, man. So when you have when you go into a profession or whatever, in our case, the military,
Mhm.
you have goals and hit points that you want to make, right? So
Yeah.
my goal is I want to be a staff sergeant in a certain amount of time, right? And
Hmm.
so I was about to obtain that goal. I had went
Yeah.
to the board early that year, getting points, and the Army just out the blue, well, not out the blue, but the Army just they changed the way we got promoted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went from having, a lot of points to, barely being promotable because of the Army.
Yeah.
And I was deployed at this time. I got highly
Hmm.
discouraged to the point where I half-ass finished the classes. I think I got C's in those classes for my associates, but I was just done because I felt the Army screwed me in trying to meet my goal. But I
Hmm.
had a squad leader, Sergeant First Class Robin Jackson, retired. Um, she pulled me aside. She was like, "Hey, you can spend the rest of your day feeling sorry for yourself, and after that,
Yeah.
you don't come to work either." Because I had just reenlisted too, right before we
Yeah.
deployed. She was like, "You got 5 more years. So what you gonna pout, or you gonna sit here as a sergeant for 5 more years?" And
Yeah.
that really motivated me because I needed that. I didn't need nobody to be like, "Man, it's gonna be okay." I need somebody to kick me in the butt and say, and right after that deployment, went to school, got promoted, so on and so on. But yeah, it was because you know, and I'm pretty sure changes like that happen in a civilian
Hmm.
world. But when you think about it now, like when changes like that happen in a civilian world, where cutbacks or things got to change, people end up like losing their job and can't find another job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So for me, it was just okay. It's just going to take you a little bit while longer to get promoted.
Yeah.
And so instead of feeling sorry for myself, allowing myself to feel sorry, I had leadership that wouldn't let me, you know, feel sorry for myself, and that what kept me going, man. Yeah, that
And,
right
and
there.
I and I think to add on to what you were saying, man, I know you guys when we have certain setbacks in the military, we are kind of spoiled because if we don't get promotion, I think on civilian side that could equate to you losing your job, and in turn, losing,
Yeah.
a lot more than just your job, because that's your livelihood and your financial, your financial stability. But I would say, even on that aspect, if you're on a civilian side, um, I think we're trying to relay that the mindset can still be there, because nowadays there's so many things to maintain if you do lose your job, to being able to get, maintain your financial stability. Because now, back then, something simple as Uber driving, or dispatch delivery services. Those wasn't around back then, in the, when we first joined up. So those
Mm-hmm.
are other ways, and we're not gonna get into that, but those are other ways. Just the when setbacks happen, you just have to have the mindset. Hey, I'm a firm believer. Hey, cry, get it out, and now stand back up and keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my quick story was that it really got to me when I was a sergeant E5. This right before I met you, little, in AOC in
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. So I was going from Alaska to Fort Hood, but I think a few months before, me and my battle buddy Ricarte, we was in Alaska, right? And so the we got from this one, correspondence courses was out, this what, 2010. And
Mm-hmm.
so I made, so what happened was, I got all the points I needed for that month, which was like, I think it was like 600 something points at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And what happened was, I think I had 630 something, right? But and then the points came out, it was like 635. And I was like, oh, I made it. I good. I got 638. But what happened was, is that uh, um, the points, when they got submitted, only got submitted to 603.
Oh
You know what I'm
man.
saying? So I was hurt. I'm talking about Ricarte had picked up, my battle had picked up. I was a little bit mad, because I was like, hey man, we did this together. And
Mm-hmm.
but I felt I had got left out. But then what happened was, the same thing. One of my leaders was like, hey man, we don't know what the point's gonna be. And this, I think my leadership then, which was son first class Miranda, um, he was like, hey man, you gonna cry about it, like he said, or you gonna just, get after it again, because you don't know what the points could be, 700 next month. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So what he let me do was go to the library for like a week straight and just knock out how many, what it was, correspondence, and it was some, SSDs, when you did
SSDs.
SSDs.
Yeah.
So structured self-development for the
Yeah.
civilians. So he let me bust all in my, this is a time when you can do 1 through 3 and not
Mm-hmm.
have the, what you call it.
Yep.
So it came out that the good thing about it was, he let me knock that out, and I got promoted right before I got to Fort Hood, because the next time they came out, the points was like 650. They jumped up 20 points, but I had like 680, 690 because of
Okay.
him,
Yeah.
because he had told me, hey, bro, oh, hey, Sergeant, you're a good NCO. I don't want to see you go down this. He said, but hey, tie your boots back up and get back out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but what we're gonna say is, make sure, if you don't get nothing else out of this, set your personal goals as well, whether it's to get promoted at work or personal goals outside. Examples: learning a new skill, spending more time with your family, or creative hobbies that you may have. For my guys who just retired, we're going to emphasize how personal goals recharge and inspire productivity. Write it down. Write it down. All right. So other than that, we do have a podcast, Transform with Sinette, on the other end, that says, I just did I just did something called a episode about overcoming your personal, overcoming obstacles. Go check that out. If you've been rocking with us this long, well, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and hit the bell
Absolutely.
for notifications. Battle, you want to leave them with anything? All I got is all gas, no brakes. You got anything for them, Battle?
Yeah, I got another little story real quick, and it comes
Mm-hmm.
to it's what we talked about today. So we all been there where we needed motivation. Rather, you directly told somebody, or you didn't. But one thing we have to do when it comes to stuff like this is, when you think you can't reach a goal, look at your surroundings, because you may think, okay, my circumstances is not allowing me to do certain things, but if you look around, it's people who's trying to achieve the same goal, who has the harder circumstances, and you know if you see them do it, go do it. It's okay to feed and motivate our people. I want people to realize, like, surround yourself with people who gonna go get it, tell you the truth, the harsh truth, and not let you sit there and say, okay, make a bunch of excuses why you're not gonna obtain this goal. Because whatever you think your circumstances is, I promise you, somebody out there trying to reach the same goal or a harder goal with worse circumstances, and they out there meeting it. So ain't no more excuses. We it's 2025. We got to go get it. Ain't no more excuses.
Exactly. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Chow Chronicles, and we'll be back next week with a motivating episode. Other than that, all gas, no brakes.
Peace.